Now, we just want to mention a couple of things before we get to Sul. Last night, Australia beat South Africa to win that series 2-1.
Yeah.
Maxwell, 62-0, 12 runs off 2 overs, required 1 ball remaining. So the big show, he was able to get the job done, so well done there. One off the text line, Surely text Walker, push on Maynard. He has to cop a week. That's from Bradley to Bradley.
Yeah, well, that could well be the case. Yeah, it was certainly there may be a case to answer there. We'll just have to wait and see. If they're going to do it for one, you've got to do it for all.
Well, considering ours was our own player affected. And if you have a look at that, in isolation, he pushes Maynard, who then cannons in and takes the legs of Big Darcy, who took the mark, Fogarty.
Yep.
So it's not dissimilar to what happened the week before. I'm not here to get Walker a week, but it's good for one, it's good for another. EPL results overnight before we get to Sul, and we've got plenty to talk about with James because he's in great form. Aston Villa, Newcastle 0, the early game. Brighton 1, Fulham 1. Sunderland 3, West Ham United 0. Spurs 3, the Clarets Burnley 0. And Wolverhampton 0, Man City 4. And it's a very good morning to James Sully Sullivan. G'day, Sul.
Hello, Marty Brad, listeners. Hey, how good is it? Getting a daily double over the South Africans.
Yes, well, let's talk about that.
Wallabies.
This is big news. Springboks lead 22-0. The Wallabies, who hadn't won at Ellis Park since 63, turned it on with a 38-22 win. Tell us about it, Sol.
Hey, Brad, we know what we want to be. We want to be a Wallaby.
Absolutely, Sully. My word.
62 years, and under the leadership of Harry Wilson, I tell you what, he did well. He scored a double himself, did Harry, and the big moment I really enjoyed, and obviously Pexy scored, Jorgensen, Wright scored the late one, which sealed the deal. But I love the swan dive from Sully. I loved the big Joey scores, and I tell you what, I thought we might have had when it was 22-0 down, I'm watching and thinking, we're going to have a hangover here from the British Lions. We're not going to bounce. This is unbelievable. What we created throughout that series is now starting to... Mate, we're beating South Africa in South Africa. They're the world champions. Not many sides have done that.
No, 100%. Well, it started on Thursday when it comes to Harry's because everyone was mad about Harry. Harry, great. What about that? The Storm and the Panthers.
Where you're living, they're mad about him. Where I'm living, they're not, I tell you.
Mad for another reason.
He's a cheeky little devil. I love him. I reckon. You know when Cameron Smith retired, and you got to remember they sent Harry Grant to West Tigers for a year. They let him go on loan, and when he came back, we probably thought, will we ever see another Cameron Smith? Because to be fair, he dominated. This boy's, in my opinion, a better dummy half. That's what I'm going to say. I think we need to change the name from hooker to dummy half because they don't hook anymore. But this kid's skills out of dummy half are sublime, and it's getting better and better. I love the bit. I think we spoke about it on Friday, Marty. When Dylan Edwards went past him, he thought, I'm a showy. Yeah.
What were they thinking?
Well, that's it. And the worst thing, there's all the controversy about the blockers and all this. And that's what we said, Marty. It took away what was an absolute belter of a game. It was, we go into Golden Point. The Panthers led 12-4 at half time. So they did it a hard way, the Storm. They scored 5 tries to 3 with some serious cattle out. So it's a big win, and it's been the talk of the town.
Okay, go back to Friday night. Warriors were in trouble against the Dragons for most of the game. They left it late. For your little double multi that you got in on Friday, the Warriors 14 beat the Dragons 10, and then the Roosters, too good for the Bulldogs, 32-12, and a big upset.
Yeah, the Dragons, just those 3 HIAs. We saw the hamstrings last week. It was the head knocks this week with losing 2 in 1 tackle. That was horrific to watch. And as you said, Matty Feagai scored the 2 tries for the Dragons. They led 10-4 at half time, but on the back of Adam Pompey God bless his soul. He scored 2 second-half tries, and the Warriors got up 14 tries. This was 14-10. Sorry, this was the big one though, wasn't it? The Roosters led 14-6. They'd scored 84 points going into this in the last 2 games, and obviously coming up against what has been a good defensive side in the Bulldogs, the Roosters blew them off the park. All 5 tries shared between Tupou and White. And, this Roosters side, they are starting to rev up.
I was just saying, Sully, the Sharks, the Bronx and the Rabbits.
Yeah, big winners, the Sharks, off the back of last week's disappointment, losing to the Dragons, just down the road. But the Titans, I think they can't wait till the end of the year, to be honest. But, they were good. They scored 10 tries. Nico Hines with 22 points, 2 tries and 7 goals, did the job. Couture and Mulatolo. The next game, what a game this was.
Yep.
I was talking to Marty last night about it. Wow, the Broncos. They're in trouble.
Were they ever?
Yeah, this Dolphin side, the Battle of Brisbane, as we know, and it was 14-all at half-time, and it got out to 28-14 at the 49th minute, and you're thinking, maybe, but then the Broncos 4 tries, and they're back from the 52nd minute. Staggs with a double. Staggs is just, when he scored his second, boys, he's punching the chest, telling the crowd, this is our house. This is our house. But I did like what I saw. Obviously we know the week before they lost Marm and Reynolds. Well, Ben Hunt and Billy Walters went into the halves. I thought they were very good. Ben Hunt set up a couple of tries. Billy Walters, the eyes-up footy for the Carapini try is unbelievable. And great one to watch. He just put the drop punt. Brad, you would have been proud of it. He had a little look, and he saw his winger unemployed on the left edge, and he said, here you go, son. Here's the job. Catch and score. And that's what he did. And then the last one, has anyone checked on Shayne Williams and the McDermott boys?
We've got the Shayne train on. He's a special guest today. What was going on here?
Check on his,
yeah.
Can you please check on his welfare?
Rabbitohs.
And we had the Eels. I put the Eels in the multi just for him. The Rabbitohs. Chalice Duncan with 2. Jai Gray with over 200 metres. The Eels had their chance in the last 2 minutes, just couldn't do it. They led 12-10 at half-time. The one thing about this Rabbitoh side, and we know Brad and Marty, with Wayne Bennett sides, they just play for Wayne. They play. And they've had a lot of injuries this year, but, geez, they play tough. That was a big win last night for them. So, they'll be happy, but I just want to check in with those boys. I was worried about them last night.
How are we going to make a quid today?
Well, that's a good point. We're going to try, aren't we? And that's the key. But I tell you what, this first game, it's at Allianz. It's 3rd game on the weekend. Let's hope it survives. West Tigers, they've shown a bit of form the last couple of weeks, and now after the win from the Broncos, Sea Eagles still sitting in that 10th spot. They only met in round 17. The Sea Eagles got over the top 28-10. But, it's one of those ones, Brad, I'm a little bit sitting on the fence. I can't split them, so I'm going to have a little play at the old either side 10 points or under. And then up there in Townsville, the Cowboys are back home. They've been disappointing on the road, but they have won their last 4 against the Knights. And the Knights haven't won in Townsville since 2015. Yeah, that's a big thing. I think the Cowboys, they'll enjoy being home, so I'm going to go Cowboys 13+. So either side by 10 or less. Cowboys 13+, we'll get $4.76, and I'm going to have a little play at 2 try scoring ones today, boys. We'll go the #7, so the number 7s, Daly Cherry Evans into Tom Dearden, $13.80, and then the #1's the fullback Jerome Buller from the Tigers into Scotty Drinkwater from the Cowboys, $7.15. There's a nice little play.
So $13.80, $7.15 for those 2 try scores. Now, while we got you on, Sol, because you're a cricket aficionado and so is Brad, passing of Bob Simpson, about 18 hours ago it was released. What a player he was, Bob Simpson. Now, I think all of us would have missed Bob at his best, but when he come back and led Australia in that comeback, I think it was in the 70s, wasn't it? 77 or something like that.
He's 40 years old.
Yeah. And remember he made that 160, 170 at the Wacker. It was a magnificent performance in really hot conditions. And I'll never forget there was that photo of him sitting in the change rooms with a foot in an ice bucket, each foot in an ice bucket, drinking a stubby of beer after his 177. And it was just an iconic photo that has never left me. But what he was able to do when he came back was just an amazing performance from Bob Simpson.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's probably Brad will know too. For me, when I heard that news yesterday, that came back, but he was our first real coach, wasn't he, Brad?
Yeah, he was.
We didn't have coaches before. Bobby Simpson was, when I remember, the first real Australian cricket coach I remember was Bob Simpson.
Mm-hmm.
But you talk about his cricket as well, Marty. He was a very good gripper. He was very good catcher, that man.
Yes, he was.
That was one big thing we forgot as well. But yeah, it's just it's one of those sad things as we grew up. He's a man you remember well.
89, I think, when he passed. So his test record, he scored 4,869 runs at 46.81, highest score 311, 10 hundreds. And then as a bowler, he took 71 test wickets at 42.2, best 5 for 57 with 110 catches. You were dead right about his catching ability as well. But he was one of those no-nonsense type of operators, wasn't he?
Yeah, or Alan Border called him a hard ass. That's what he was. And Ian Chappell didn't have much time for Bob Simpson, believe it or not. And so AB spent a lot of time trying to mend the fences, Sully, so to speak, between the two. You know, it's hard when you've got a respect and a liking for two people who don't like each other.
Yeah.
So you're caught between a rock and a hard place. But yeah, look, I know there were many others, and I'm not speaking out of school. And, you know, Dean Jones wasn't a fan. Greg Ritchie wasn't a fan. So that's always the way, though, isn't it? As long as you're firm but fair, I mean, and honest, and I think that Bob Simpson ticked all of those boxes. So, yeah, there's going to be personalities in every sport, isn't there?
Well, you always said it, Brad, it's not a popularity contest, is it? It's about getting the job done.
No. One of my favourite sayings, Sully, it came from my dad, my late and great father, who died some years ago, but it never left me, was you're better to be hated for what you are than loved for what you're not.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. And when you look at Bobby Simpson, he reminds you of a school principal, didn't he?
He probably had that about him. I never thought of it that way, but I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you're a youngster, Sully, you're brazen and you're bulletproof and all of that sort of stuff. And people around about the 40 years of age mark or 50, we thought they were old. You know, like, what's going on? You know, they're old buggers now. You know, now we're well and truly past that ourselves, and then we think, geez, maybe we just didn't have the right read on the room, on the tea leaves back then. That's for sure.
Hey.
Yep. 100%.
All the best for your two bets there today, or your three bets today. Love talking NRL with you. There was one here off the text. We're going to go to it. Morning, Marty, Brad, Sophie. Always enjoy listening to Sully. He's like the Energizer Bunny. You are a bit that way, Sul.
6:20 in the morning.
You didn't have a cameo on the Highwayman with Mark Jacko Jackson, did you?
No.
Yeah, but,
that'd be fun, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Jacko.
Hey, Sal, just before you leave, the latest on the Perth Bears. Anything there to report?
No, I've got an interesting lunch this week, so I'll have a little bit more news for you. So, looking forward to having lunch with the boss man. But the news I did get, Mal Meninga over the moon with the board meeting. Went really, really well. All the parties came together and they've all got one plan, and that's to go forward.
Okay. Thanks, Sal.
Finish, Sal.
We'll listen in on Thursday. Let's get a couple of texts in before we take a quick break. So the continuation of that text was Crows Pies cracking game. Guys, Freo dropped their anchor and got the old heave-ho, and they fell apart like the deck chairs on the Titanic. Too many players got found out on Friday night. Brad, you would have to question, does the Dockers game plan hold up the finals pressure, which is what Friday night was? What we hear, our best is good enough after every loss, but is their best good enough for finals? Probably won't find out the answer this season. The doggies will chew them up and spit them out. When they recruited Bolton, he was the missing piece of the puzzle they needed to win a flag, but in my opinion, he hasn't played to the level he did at Richmond. One thing for sure is that every Docker member and Dockers Football Club will be cheering for the Eagles. Go the Dogs. Take care and enjoy your day and have a great week. That is from our great friend Lisa of Allenbrook.
Yeah, good on you, Liz. Look, there's no doubt. And I've maintained it all along, and I've got a lot of people offside, particularly the flag mantle people. They say, oh, you hate Fremantle. I don't hate Fremantle at all, Marty. I'm a Fremantle boy. I want to see them do well, but they just continually confound me by making the same mistakes over and over and over. Again, we question their DNA. We question their ability to be able to stand up and help each other in, vital moments. And everybody wants to espouse how they'd won 10 out of 11, all that sort of stuff. That's great. But it means nothing now. It means absolutely nothing. What does it amount to? And you're right. I mean, they're respected at Optus. They're not feared on the road. Now, I know they've had some victories against the Giants at Engie and the Gold Coast at the Gold Coast and Collingwood at the MCG by a narrow margin. But that Collingwood form is a little bit displaced, I think, a little bit now.
5 or 6,
Yeah, the way they've been going. All I'm saying is that they've got to come up with something because their best at Optus may be competitive. Their best, they have to be better than that on the road because no one currently in the 8 on the East Coast fears them.
Brad, we'll have a good talk and pull it apart between 7 and 7:30. So we'll address this text from Rusty Gates. He's always one of our favourites. Fremantle have found a way to shoot themselves in the foot. It was predicted that Fremantle's fate would come down to the last game of the year, and that appears to be the case. But unfortunately for Fremantle, their chances of defeating the Western Bulldogs will be about as good as Donald Trump's chances of talking Putin into stopping the war against the Ukraine. That is from Rusty Gates. So we'll see what does happen next week.
Yeah, well, the Dogs have got to take care of business today, and I'm sure they will against the Eagles. We know that. And what a mammoth week it's going to be. It's an elimination final, and both clubs have got it all on the line. And it's going to be unusual and probably in some shapes unfair because you're going to have a team either winning 15 games or 14 games and a healthy percentage. You aren't going to make the 8. Who would have thought? I mean, some years there's been 11 and a good percentage, 12, that sort of thing. And it's been one of those unicorn years like it was a unique year last year where there was 14 going into the last round almost that could make the 8. Amazing. So I just can't wait. As long as the Dogs do the right thing today. What a week of build-up it's going to be, Marty, for you on the drive and me and my various roles. It's going to be fantastic.
Brad, I'm a firm believer. You've got to play with the cards that are dealt with. And this year we've had 9 teams or 8 teams that have been basically useless, which meant that the 9 and 10 teams above them have been scoring a lot of wins. That's what it is. It's not too hard to work 100%. It out. And so one of these 9 teams are going to miss out, and that's the way it is. And I don't believe a narrative that's going around is if you miss out and 9th because you had 14 or 15 wins, it doesn't mean to say they can't move on the coach.
No, exactly right. Look, with Bevo, he's re-signed for 2 years, and as I said, I'm bullish about the future as well. I'm thinking they can do some damage if they can beat Fremantle next week and make it in. I reckon they can win their first final. Doesn't matter who they play, where they play. They've got that capability. They're not going to win the flag, I don't believe, but. Having said that, the ultra wound is it could be a 2016 year, Marty. When the Dogs won it from 7th last year, Brisbane won it from 5th, and some of the form shown by some of the sides in the 8, as you say, who are going to end up making it. Who knows? if you get it right on the day, half the battle, or more than half the battle, of winning the flag this year is getting there.
Correct, Amondo. You're listening to The Aftermath. It is 28 minutes away from 7 o'clock. We welcome along Chris Nelson. A very good morning to you, Chris.
Good morning to you, Marty. And I'm guessing it's Brad?
Yeah, it is Brad. Brad Hardie's over there in Melbourne.
Are you, Brad?
That's a good guess.
Yeah. Well, I've only got a choice of 2, so I've got a 50% chance of getting it right.
Hey, listen, you might be able to win today, and you're up against the Kangaroos, and you're playing at Ninja Stadium. So hopefully you're on it in race 3 at Rosehill yesterday.
Ninja, I was. I did tip Ninja, Brad. Yeah, and it was a good effort too. He did a good job, didn't he, to keep going after doing a bit of work early on. What's Ninja Stadium? Is that Marvel?
No.
No, that's down in Hobart. That's down at Bellerive.
Oh, it's playing down in Hobart. I haven't even looked where we're playing this week.
Oh, glad to see you following your team.
Yeah, lift.
I just thought it was obviously 2 Melbourne teams who'd be playing somewhere in Melbourne, but, that's obviously not the case.
No. No, it's AFL, mate.
Yeah, I know. It is A, not V.
Now, first off, how did it play yesterday? What was your take on Rose Hill?
Oh, look, I think along
track.
the inside. Well, heavy track. I don't like heavy tracks, and I don't trust the form for one moment. But I thought they did come down the outside. There's no doubt about that. But a few of them got up along the inside okay as well. So it might have just been the case of who handled the track and who didn't, and a little bit of tempo as well involved there. So I didn't see, and I haven't gone into great detail as yet, but from what I've seen and what I've looked at in the last 12 hours or so, I didn't see any great bias at all. What did you guys think? Similar?
Yeah, that was quite good. Look, we were very pleased, Marty and I hope you were too, Chris, with the win of Skyhook in race 5. Didn't appear to handle it all that well, but class prevailed there. It was a fantastic start, and more to come. There's a lot more in the tank yet.
Yeah, it was a good win. And look, he had the class, as we know. He came through those slipper lead-ups. He won one of those, and he wasn't that far away in the slipper. So he was the one that was going to be tough to beat, but doing it from last and doing it on a heavy track because he hadn't raced on a wet track before, so that was an unknown. And with the 60.5 kilos, I mean, that's an awesome effort. He was too strong for Grand Prairie late and gave him, 7 kilos. So Grand Prairie had its chance and had race fitness. So we often see in these early races of carnival time or early carnival races that these horses that come back just have that class factor. And Skyhook was that. Grand Prairie was a bit keen. Peloton, every chance. Nashville Jack, every chance. Pallius was wide, no cover. Mid-race, probably didn't suit there, but was a roughie anyway. So for me, all honours with Skyhook.
In race number 7, they had something on this. War Eternal. Jason Collett and Bjorn Baker combined to beat Birdman. Land Legend back in 3rd and Palmetto 4th.
Yeah, interesting race because War Eternal had the fitness. A lot of these others were resuming with spring campaigns in mind, whereas War Eternal was very well placed and had 54 kilos and was able to hold on and beat Birdman. Now, Birdman 2nd, Land Legend 3rd, Palmetto 4th, and Our Gold Hope 5th, all first up. So they'll all take good improvement. Birdman was good, but I've got to tell you guys, he burnt me many, many times last preparation. Is he a bit of a tease? I don't know. We'll see during this campaign. Land Legend was the real eye catcher, running on from a clear last at the top of the straight. Yeah, weaved its way through the field into 3rd spot. Was only beaten 1.4. Had 61 kilos on the back as an $81 chance. So you have to be pretty happy with that return. So we'll see what Birdman and Land Legend do in coming weeks.
As you know, he's one of mine, Brad. Backed him in the Melbourne Cup, and I don't know. I hope he can get him right. If you ever see the best of Land Legend, he's not pulling his head off, and Waller can work his magic with him. He's a top liner. But let's have a watch.
Race 9 there, Chris. Talk about magic. The beautiful Sophie sent us through the big bets. Somebody didn't forget the back of Mel Coop. Unbelievable. Backed it straight out and in a multi, if you don't mind, and cleaned up. It never looked like getting caught. I thought, surely this thing's going to stop, but it just kept going.
Too tough. And racing too well, and that's 3 straight wins for Mel Coop. The weight drop was certainly helpful. So the weight drop measured up in town and measured up well. It was a bunched up sort of finish. There was 4 of them went across the line within a length of each other. I thought Polyglot was good, and I also thought Rosalind Star was probably the best run in the race. Ran 4th, first up from a long break, hadn't been seen since April 2024, so that's well over a year. Wide, no cover. And looked a chance still in the straight, so fought on very well. I'd like to see probably a 3-week gap until we see Rosalind Star again, because it might take a little bit of getting over that run and off that long break, but definitely following that one going forward.
And in the last was Cloudland for OTI, Chris Lees and Dylan Gibbons beating Lord Penman and Bunker Hutt back in 3rd.
There was a run here, guys. Lord Penman. It was an absolute cracker of a run. He's with Chris Waller. Now, he's a former Kiwi. This was his first run in the country, and he had to weave his way through halfway down the straight, and he was finishing off at the rate of knots here, Lord Penman. Looking at his form now, he's won 1,400 to 1,500 metres. He's handled all sorts of ground he could be a nice one for the stable. So he definitely goes into Black Book here, Lord Penman.
Hey, just before we get going and have a look at Brisbane, what about Waller just releasing some of the brakes on those track workers yesterday? Via Sistina, Fangirl, Aliana, Lady Shenandoah and Autumn Glow all having a spin around Rose Hill and looking magnificent. I love what he said. Did you hear the post-race interview or the post-workout interview? He just said that Via Sistina, Fangirl and Autumn Glow are what they are. They're just mares, and basically suggested where they left off last campaign, they're going to pick up again. No changes there. Aliana, he said, is going to be a multiple Group 1 winner going forward. And Lady Shenandoah, they're going to keep her back to sprinting distances because no good running into all the same races with all of his horses. And they're talking about putting Lady Shenandoah through the sprints up to, around the 1,200 metre mark. So keep an eye on that.
Well, whatever he does, he'll get it right. Which one out of those 5 is the most exciting? Obviously, Via Sistina is the class act. They all got class. But if you had to pick one to follow through the spring, who would it be?
Oh, the way he spoke about Aliana be one, and she'll probably go up into a Cups campaign. I really like the work of Lady Shenandoah. She worked absolutely brilliantly there. Yes, I know the Times won't say that she was as quick as the others, but he had a triple Nelson grip on her. Pardon the pun, Chris. And
okay.
But any one of those 5 will do me. Any one of those 5.
Yeah.
How'd you like to be preparing those 5? Get up every morning and have a look in the stables.
And they're and you got plenty of others to support them as well that didn't go around yesterday. But Aliana, for me, that win in the Derby was just outstanding. Yeah. I can't wait to see her again. But you're right, she'd have to go Caulfield Cup, that sort of thing you'd suggest.
Why not?
Now, let's go to Doomben. In race 5 there, Chris, no doubt you would have had this on top. And was this a cartoon? Was this a cartoon race? Or I've heard of Cyber Hack, but never Cyber City.
It was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I want to touch on this because when I did the form originally Wednesday, this was the race that really messed with my head. I could not find anything to win this race. And I thought, anything could win the race. And it turned out the $51 shot won, and it won by 5.5 lengths. How did that happen?
Yeah, bolted it.
Absolutely bolted. And I'll tell you, doing the times, I can tell you, it didn't get a soft lead. It ran along from the outset and then extended the margin on the home turn and then kept on going. What was that old line? Just go to the front and keep increasing the margin or something like that. Keep on improving, So that's what Cyber City did. And I will be very interested to see what Cyber City does next start. Because I don't know.
Yeah, too true. Pretty competitive race. Race 6, Spywire eventually got there. There's maybe a couple to follow out of this one.
Yeah, definitely Ouroboros or Oberos or whatever you want to call him. He was home and hosed, unfortunately. He must have realised that he was my best of the day because about 1 metre from the line, he packed it in and Skywire ran. He was 3 lengths clear at the 150 metre mark. He was 2 lengths clear at the 100 metre mark. He was probably still a length clear with 25 metres to go, and somehow he got run over by Spywire. I think I've tipped the last 2 starts, so there you go. Don't you love racing? But all honest to Spywire, he's come back consistent. Ouroboros maybe a run short, so next time stick with him. He's a very nice sprinter. The Blade, who was heavily backed, $2.20 favourite, had some cover in the run, was wide early, then went back inside runners and didn't have a lot of room in the straight. So I think you've probably got to forgive that run for the Blade. But, you're right, Brad, that could be a good form race going forward.
And Tony Gollan left it very late, didn't he? Before he trained one in race 7, Utuno wins for Ryan Maloney.
Yeah, Black Book.
Yeah, and look, we had him, definitely Naval Trader running on. Is that the one? Yeah, but look, the Tuno, we had him marked as a wettie. He's a wet tracker. Everyone told us he's a wet tracker, and he performs like a wet tracker. He found a wet track last start and couldn't get past Goldsboro. He gets on a track that's bordering on a firm or a good 3, and he's holding on to win. So, all honours with Natuno, but I couldn't have had him. I did have Naval Trader, who just missed on the line. So there you go. He needed a little bit further, Naval Trader, and he'll probably get that next start.
Okay, so horses to follow?
Plenty out of Sydney, Birdman and Land Legend with little asterisks next to them. Roseland Star out of race 9. Those other 2 were race 7. And Lord Penman certainly out of that last race. And we'll follow Ouroboros, whatever he's called, in race 6 out of Doomben. I can't get it right. No, not even going to have another crack at it.
Hey, Chris, just for the record, there's a game of AFL football today down in Tasmania. North Melbourne are playing Richmond at Ninja Stadium. So,
yes.
Tune in.
I look forward to that. I'm out playing golf, so I won't even see any of it, Brad.
How about Sunshine Coast? Have we got a winner there?
No odds up. No odds, not after yesterday. No odds up as I went to air, but race 1, number 1, Iraja. I think if there's market support, can run well.
$4.80.
Race 3, number 4, Flywheel. Looks a lovely race for him finally.
Race 3, number 4, Flywheel, $3.50.
And race 5, number 9, Espresso for David Van Dyke. This is the Noosa Cup, the feature of the day, and I think this horse has been set for it. He's got a very good first start record. So race 5, number 9, Espresso.
$4.20 for Angela Jones there. That bit of value about your 3 selections. I like that.
Yeah, let's see if we can get at least 2 of them home. It'd be nice.
Okay, hit them straight, Nelso. Don't try and overhit them. Just keep them on the fairway. That's my tip for you.
You've got to keep the rhythm right.
You're a rhythm man. Chris Nelson will tune in again on Wednesday morning again. He finds all the winners on Saturday morning with Nathan Exelby. Racetrack Ralphy's next.
Sunday morning, Tab Radio Racing and Sport is turned on. And you are listening to the dulcet tones of Marty Young and Brad Hardie on the Aftermath.
Yes, and Racetrack Ralphy from Caulfield yesterday. G'day, Ralphy.
Good morning, boys. Yeah, I wish I was actually at Caulfield rather than MCG, but I'm delighted to talk racing with you.
Not often you get that wrong. I thought you would have been at the home track for sure. Tell us how it played.
Look, it played quite wet. Zero criticism. This is just reality. We got a decent dump on Friday as well as during the week, and the communication was spot on. The rail was out 9 metres, and those super wide lanes were A1, and that meant that the thinking jockeys on leaders, if they got out to the best part of the track first, they weren't caught.
Yeah. Morning, Ralph. Well, you would have backed the Omen tip in the first, epic proportions, because if Melbourne had beaten Hawthorn, it would have been reorganised the top 9.
Absolutely, yeah. That wasn't happening after about 2 minutes, Brad. But look, this was a nice little benchmark race. Epic Proportions was over the odds, no question whatsoever, because all you had to do was forgive its Fleming and run, or it got in a bit of trouble back around the bend, and also on the wet track, so it was suited there. Couple worth keeping in mind. I think Vido will be better on top of the ground, and Shadavar, I think Tommy Dabenig underestimated how wet the track would be. It's definitely a top of the ground horse, Shadavar.
Second in the 1800, it was Mac Dane winning for Craig Williams, who started the day off well.
Absolutely, he did, and they walked here, so it was a building tempo. Skipper's Canyon, it was confetti money if you're on it at the 800. I don't think they could have done much more, and this is absolutely one of the horses of the day. Its win at Sandown was just dynamic, but I did think it was under the odds yesterday because they were clearly going to say, righto, let's let this horse settle, and gone from a fast tempo 1400 to a very slow tempo 1800. Put a big circle around this horse. It's got genuine talent, just didn't get the circumstances yesterday.
Race 3 was a competitive one. There was certainly one looking for Gala Queen was well fenced. But Bossy Bonita, a back-to-back race-to-race double for Craig Williams.
Yeah, and again, he just got straight in that best lane first, and good luck catching him there. Also tempo assisting. Gala Queen's a top-of-the-ground horse. I just wasn't convinced pre-meeting just what to do with her, so I just avoided the race, and I'm glad I did. But put a big circle around her. If she gets a good track in 2 weeks' time, she's gone 1100 to 1400, and also, wet to dry. That'll be the circumstance because she's a genuine talent on top of the ground, 1400 mile range, Gala Queen.
Okay, fourth event, Home Rule. Jayla Kennedy got it right.
She absolutely did, and she's flowed here. I'll wait till we talk about Private Eye before I give you the stat to compare, and your head will roll off. But this was how to ride a fast horse on pace, just beautifully rated, straight to the best part of the track, and he's just in the zone. He missed the start last start. Hence, he was back in the field, but back on top of the ground. Back on top of the speed. He was just too fast. I think Kappa 39's now ready. He handles wet ground, but he was only second up, so fitness-wise needed that. And Stylish was just in nowhere to land, but she too, top of the ground horse.
Yeah, race 5, the Vane Stakes. It was a good competitive race, I've got to admit. I was on Tycoon Star, but Jimmy Ricard was better on the day. Yeah,
and once again, I think this was wet track, Brad, and also a bit of maturity. I mean, Tycoon Star's I'm very, very confident he's the best 3-year-old colt in Melbourne of the exposed ones. And, and the Blue Diamond couldn't have had things more against. Huge run to come third. His jump outs were sizzling leading in. And then he gets to a wet track, and Jimmy Ricard's in the zone and been racing well. So I don't think he's got the upside that Tycoon Star has. So both on top of the ground and just with a bit more race smarts, I think this horse is a real talent to follow from the race, Tycoon Star.
Race 6, the Quezette Stakes, taken out by Ferrivia. Phil Stokes.
Yeah, he's just a super trainer. But this was race shape 101, so the leaders went fast, and then they hit the anchors into the slower part of the ground. So the slingshot runners were advantaged. Fervia and My Gladiola, I wasn't sure what to do with her because she was very good on debut and then just a bit plain at Sandown. I wasn't sure if it was the wet ground. Clearly the wet ground's no issue. Maybe it was just a flat second up. But also she was advantaged yesterday by the way the leaders just hit that wall, if you like. So I think we just have got a bit more to learn about these fillies.
Race 7, like you yesterday, I ran second a bit. Arkansas Kid, but Papa Ward might be a nice one.
Oh, no, you were on the best horse. Oh,
yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I'm on, I should credit him, of course. I've got Vince Accardi's data through, so it's just giving me such clarity here. So Arkansas Kid, 5 lengths more in the mid-race from the 800 to the 400, and just an impossible start, never mind weight. This is true handicapping, stall gift style, and I was very unlucky, as well as Papa Ward was in the zone. Good first up run. We put the big circle around it. They've had to throw at the stumps at the stakes racing, and I think it just shows you in Melbourne, if you've got fitness, winter form, and you hit some wet tracks, you're always better off having to throw at the stumps because you're going to beat horses that aren't fully screwed down.
Yep.
Arkansas Kid, definitely one of the horses to fight from the meeting. And I noticed Royal Insignia from our man Marty that stayed to the slower part of the track on the slower day. So I think just watch for it second up, Royal Insignia.
Race number 8. This was the big one of the day. The PB Lawrence Stakes, 1,400 metres, and Nash Rawiller at his uncanny best out in front.
My goodness. So I said about the home rule stat. So at the 400-metre mark, Private Eye's leading. It would have been literally 21 lengths from the lead.
Wow.
Home rule.
Yep.
So you reckon they're going to catch it from there?
No.
Good luck. So if they back this horse up at the Memsie, yesterday was a barrier trial. So he will hit the Memsie absolutely at his best, and I don't think anything's going to be screwed down to catch him. Lovely runs from the Moller. I just want to say the Waller mares.
Yes.
Vince put the clock on these horses back when they had their first run in the Doncaster, which was a non-event. They are serious talents.
Right.
So if you want to spec ones for the Group 1s, Moira and Anisette, not a bad time to do it because there'll be huge odds, and they are genuine star horses.
Ralphy, just in 15 seconds. We haven't got 15 seconds. I was just going to say that the other jocks were asleep at the wheel, weren't they? I mean, there are trainers who probably didn't want to knock their horses around. They're probably bigger fish to fry, but still, it's a Group 2. You got to put yourself in the race.
That's it. Yeah, and that's the way to do it. So in the last race, look for Cadmus, huge from back in the field, and Kings Valley, I think, is ready to run well second up. Horses to follow, just put a big circle around Skipper's Canyon and Arkansas Kid.
Skipper's Canyon, Arkansas Kid from Racetrack Ralphy. At this stage of the season, Ralphy, who wins the AFL Grand Final?
Brisbane's best is the best in the league.
Well, there you go.
Very confident saying that.
You've been listening to Brad Hardie 20 minutes ago. You said the same thing.
What a judge.
5 weeks ago.
Okay. Hey, Racetrack, always good, mate. Won't be too long before you're up on the goldfields.
That's it. We'll be there. Can't wait.
All right, mate. Thanks for that. Good morning, Marty and Brad. Amazing win by Claremont Tigers over Perth after 50 points behind at quarter time. Sorry? 50 points behind at quarter time, the Monts against Perth. Waffle equaling record comeback. Perfect start for my 70th birthday. Tigers theme party. Regards, Wint. Good on you, Wint, from Mount Pleasant. So you got your 70th. We're all going there dressed up as Tigers on the back of a big win yesterday against the Demons. Ended up 86-73. Some other waffle results. East Fremantle beat the Royals 88-73. South Fremantle, Brad, 20-10-130. Beat West Perth 10-6-68. Wow, best players for West Perth, Bill Valley, Les Fong, Mel Winnan. So an ageing list there for the Cardies. Subiaco 4.933, Peel Thunder 13.12.90. And that's a bad year for the Lions. Neil Randall listening in. It's been tough, but you can switch your allegiances to South Fremantle, can't he, Brad?
Absolutely.
Neil can do that.
With us. He's a very good player, Randy.
Yep.
Very stylish left footer.
Yes. West Coast 11.773. Swan Districts 11.12.78. The Mont's getting that one away from... Swan District's getting that one away from home. So they're your waffle results from the weekend. We'll have to check that up. So Claremont Tigers after 50 points behind at quarter time. What were Perth doing in the first quarter?
Wow. That's unbelievable.
Why do the Brisbane Lions need to bother with an injury-prone Oscar Allen when they have a 20-year-old talent in Logan Morris? Maybe Allen might have to stay with the Eagles. Chris Akomo, the kid, I watched him closely. Geez, a good footballer. I know I said it earlier on, but that pack mark he took, then the 50-metre was given away. How did he take that mark?
Oh, I know. He's incredible. He's a star in the making. I mean, and his backstory is the one where he played down at Carrara and was driving home because there's about an hour's drive between Carrara and Brisbane at the Gabba, and the boys were playing, and he stopped at the burger place to
McDonald's.
have a burger and
had about 4 Big Macs.
Would you like a shake with that? Yeah. Can you get here? You're playing, and he hasn't looked back. Unbelievable. Played in a winning grand final last year. Played well. And hasn't looked back, and everybody thought, how are they going to cover for Joe Danaher? Yeah. Well, he hasn't broken stride, has he?
No, hasn't at all.
And see, the other thing with Doty looks like he's done. He did play 10 or 11 games in the VFL sort of thing, but he played last week. He pulled up sore, so that doesn't augur well going forward. That's probably why they need Oscar Allen to just to get another tall in there and give themselves the maybe the chance to throw Hipwood back. Who knows?
Pommy Pie is not happy. The blatant tactics to con the umpires into an incorrect decision is not welcome in the AFL sport. Forget the result. Both teams played a hard game in tough conditions, but we don't need to see players throwing themselves to the ground like an Italian soccer player, and we don't need players kicking the ball out on the full and then claiming the kick. If they want to play soccer, go play soccer. Jim Pommy Pie. And that was it was off the foot of Hinge.
Yes.
And he claimed it and conned the umpires. That was a pretty good effort from Hinge to do that, actually.
Yeah. Well, you got to cut him a little bit of leeway, I suppose, with the wet weather. But you're right. I mean, it's. But the other one, the most contentious one, was the one at the end when Tilthorpe socketed the ball away.
Oh yeah, from the boundary line.
It was a stoppage on the boundary line. Yeah. I mean, you can't be doing that. And look, Collingwood needed to win the ball back. Well, it should have been given the ball back. Yeah. So they still had time to get the ball down the ground and get it sorted.
It does a beggar's belief when they don't pick up those obvious ones like that. That's, the 50-50s, you let them go, that's fair enough, but those obvious free kicks that just go unnoticed. So on Friday night, the other game, we said it'll be a good game. Essendon 75, St Kilda 77.
Yeah, you're a bit unlucky. I know you were at the other footy, and I texted you. I said, look, you're going to win this. And your boys were right in it. And it was a fantastic buy story, as we said, about Merritt and the young boy Unwin. Well, he played well. And wasn't it a moment when he kicked the goal. And just a refresh for those who may have not been listening, because Merritt was 250 game. He had 170 people coming down by bus from Cobden, which is like about 3 hours away, like coming from Geraldton. And anyway, they said, we can't exchange your ticket. So they picked a kid called Unwin, who came from Cobden, and he kicks his first goal, and the crowd went bunter. They just went mad. Yeah. It was great. It was a fantastic moment. Yeah, but you should have won that one. And of course, St Kilda still found a way to whinge. Oh, someone left the roof open and this and that and everything else. They just don't know when to shut up down there. Anyway.
And that was a good game for you, Brad. You got your multi in. I think it was 750.
Higgins, 750.
Higgins and Sharman to kick 2, Wright and McMahon a goal each, and Windhager 25 plus. So that was a good multi for your followers. How good's that McMahon as a forward? I keep saying it. Marvel that it took 5 games in the reserves once they claimed him in the mid-season draft to give him a game, and he's kicked I think he's kicked 12 games in 4. 12 goals in 4 games, I think.
he's just got such a pure action when it comes to kicking a goal. A lot of people could learn from that. You know, I mean, it's economical, it's tidy, it'll stand up under duress, and he's been a find for them, absolute ripper. So well done to the young man.
Okay, we've spoken about Fremantle, Brisbane. Anything else to add with Brisbane 101 beating Fremantle 44?
Yeah, no, it's just going to be an entertaining week all round, isn't it, with the build-up to the game next week. And as they say, don't get beaten by what you know, and that's what the Bulldogs will be trying to do after they hopefully get through West Coast today. Marty, again, it was unearthed by Dean Cox, twice, as we said.
Yep.
And Fagan, to his credit, and you were at the game, you texted me and said, "Oh, do you think he needs to go to Sarong?" And I said, yeah, I think he does, because Sarong had 15 or 16 at half-time. Wasn't setting the world on fire, but he was keeping them around the place. He was being nuisance value. So that's what he did. He shut him out of the game in the third quarter, had 3 disposals in about 20 minutes, and the game got away from Fremantle and never looked back. And Clark got closed down a little bit, and Brayshaw was Brayshaw. So they're the 3 keys to Fremantle, and they've got to find a way to find some other ways. And they'll probably bring back Hayden Young this week, and those adductor muscles. That's the inside of the leg rather than the groin itself. So, he's going to be a big in for them, but they need him because he's a star.
When they're all playing well, they can look good, Fremantle, but when they play like they did on Friday night, then you go through your list and say, gee, have they got about 8 players on that list that probably wouldn't get a game at many other clubs?
Yeah, they have, and it takes all sorts, and you've got to have roles to play, etc. But unfortunately for Fremantle, when they are going well and wallpaper over the cracks sometimes, it's the same recidivists every time. Yeah. If you go through it, you just trace it back and you say, well, who didn't play well, and you'll just continue to find those same 8 names, and we talk about that. What wins your grand final? It's your bottom 3 or 6, and if you can eradicate that, well, you've got an even better chance of winning.
Okay, this was a big win from GWS. Enjoyed watching this game in between putting races to wear yesterday. It was Gold Coast 76, GWS 111. How good was Harry Ralston, the kid?
Oh, it's fantastic. When I was sort of looking at this game, I thought, well, the Suns should win it. That's their best patch to win. They win more often than they lose there, don't they? They're very crack. And the Giants were down on manpower, and you thought, well, it's the old saying, Marty. The game is a good team on paper. Game's played on grass. And I think the Suns held all the cards there yesterday and came up short. Your other favourite one, too, is about it's not who's not playing, it is who's playing. So who's playing? And it was Grzuski. He played well, the big forward. Yeah. Ralston forward. It was that forward line that you were worried about without Hogan and Stringer. And then you got plenty out of, 2 from Cabin, 1 from Riccardi, and these 2 no-names, if you like, played particularly well. Yeah, my word. So, anyway, I think maybe the Suns just in the back of their mind said, well, we've still got, an equation here, Port Adelaide next week and of course, Essendon to come the week after when everyone finishes. So they should be handling your boys. And, well, again, have they got one in the chamber, Port Adelaide, to put the cat amongst the pigeons against the Suns next weekend? They normally do bounce back off a poor performance. It was a poor performance. Carlton dominating 118, Port 64. Yeah. Well, look, and Harry Mackay got amongst. He kicked 7. He beat up on them, and they just weren't the same as they were the week before. And the power and Alia got hurt early, got a bit of a knock, and he sort of didn't want to participate too much. And I think Rosie had a broken hand, and he gutsed it out. Mm-hmm. And Boak was fantastic. It was all the oldies that were trying to hold it together there. And Georgiades had a rare nearly day. He nearly marked it, nearly kicked a few goals, nearly should have got a free kick. It was one of those days, but yeah, they were 7 goals to 4 at one stage, and I thought, Carlton of old this year on exposed form, they haven't been running on, but they blew them away in about 10 minutes, and that was the end. It was all of a sudden it was 11 goals to 4 and a 55-point margin, and the game was gone. So Mario's text in on that Retrovision text line. Mario, very good morning to you. Morning, boys. Perth had 9-1 to 1-1, I think, in the first turn. Then Claremont did similar in the second. Crazy game. Wow.
Dogs won again. That's all that matters. A good South Fremantle man is Mario. So well done to you.
Mario.
Now, Hawthorn, to me, looked to be one of these teams really hitting form at the right time. A couple of weeks ago, they made a case they could miss the 8, which they could have. And now they've really put it together. 92-56, just did what they had to do against Melbourne.
Yeah, well, they mangled Collingwood, didn't they? And then they came in and people were making a case for Melbourne, and because on the back end of the shootout they had with the Dogs the week before, well, that was never going to be the case. I mean, Mitchell's too smart for that. And Gunston wound back the clock. He was on fire. I mean, he kicked 7 goals, but he really did well. And don't be mistaken, this is what happens. So for those who didn't watch the game, there was junk time goals, 3 of them in the last quarter for Melbourne. And you think, that wasn't too bad. And he got beat by 6. Well, they should have been beaten by 10 because, the 3 they got late certainly flattered them on the scoreboard. So, Hawks are travelling nicely. Big game next week, next Sunday night, up there against the Brisbane Lions, in what promises to be a top 4 finish for one of them.
Special moment too when Luke Bruce was able to kick that goal.
Yes. He's been a beauty, hasn't he? I'm pretty sure he started with in the Sydney Reserves, couldn't get a game.
Well, there you go.
Three-time premiership player and 2-time All-Australian.
And the relationship,
500-odd goals.
The relationship between him and Gunston has been a special one. I heard him interviewed on Friday, and he said they came to the club at around the same time. And not only are they really good mates and they play, footy together and combine really well, but they have driven each other. There is a competitive competition between the two of them. And it just drives them, whatever it is. Could be a game of table tennis, a game of footy, or whatever it is. They just want to beat each other.
Well, that's right. And the other thing about it, I thought Bruce one more year. I thought, you're stretching it now, Sammy. Yep. But it's again, he hasn't overexposed him, has he? He's been a sub a few times, and he's still getting amongst it, and still has a role to play. And Gunston, I thought, coming back from Brisbane and that, he didn't really set the world. I got dropped, and now he's going to be arguably he should be All-Australian. He should be the third tall in the forward line, you would think, vying with a couple of others, no doubt. But, it's going to be hard to knock back when it comes to the All-Australian selectors over the next few weeks.
What a game we had last night, Adelaide Oval. It was Adelaide 59, finally beating Collingwood 56. They hadn't beaten them since 2017. Jumped by Collingwood early. We sort of half predicted they'd be up and about early. They squared it up, just got their nose in front at half-time. The rain arrived, turned into a battle royale, didn't it, down the straight, a battle of wills. And it was a very interesting, Gary Lyon, I think, listened to him as a broadcaster, can over-analyse games, but he had this one right when he just described the fact that each coach had a player back, and they were going to just, as you said, a battle of wills, battle it out and see who's in front on the line.
Yeah. And they look. The other thing is, Collingwood. That's very unusual for them to cough up. But Adelaide did that a few weeks ago. Remember when they got mugged early and they Nix didn't panic, and he just calmed them down. Hey, slow down. Let's just get back to our processes and all that jargon they use. And they found their way back into a game in that second quarter. And as you say, the rain came, made things really, really difficult. Marty, are you sitting down? The inside 50 count for Collingwood was crazy. 71 to 37. 71 to 37. The week before, Brisbane got beat with 65 inside 50s. So, proficiency advantage Adelaide, not so Collingwood. So they were doing a lot right to get it in there. But it was so frustrating. I did the game, and I said, look, this is just painstaking for Pie fans and the back six. They are getting inundated, this Adelaide Crows defence unit, but they were never tested because they just kept pushing him back. It was unbelievable. 71. That's got to be some sort of record, I would have thought.
I think it was.
Having going inside 50 and scoring, 8-8-56, brother. They just... But again, it wasn't until the last few minutes when it got frenetic. It started... What about that? It opened up and everyone started to go for their shots, and it was great to watch. Why didn't they do that earlier? Anyway... and the Adelaide Crows, barring a catastrophe losing to North Melbourne next week, will be the minor premiers. First time since 2016 or 17.
Yeah. Brad, it was an amazing night last night of pacing at Albion Park. And Chris Barsby, the voice of pacing in Australia, joins us next.
You're listening to the Sunday Aftermath on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Meow Alderman, Kimmy, Stripes, and Artie Tiny is last on the inside. Back straight quarter, 27.9. She's starting to open right up now, Ride the High. She swings onto the home straight and she's clear. 27.9 that third quarter, and she has dashed away. She's 12 metres in front of You're So Special. Then our Beach Girl may win, and this is the easiest ride to Group 1 glory. Ride the Highs by a big margin. You're So Special. Photo third.
Oh, she was $1.07 favourite in the end. Ride the Highs in that 2-year-old fillies Group 1 last night, and bolts in, and Chris Barsby's calling all the action. He joins us now. G'day, Chris. Thanks for coming on the program.
Marty and Brad, good morning to you both. Good morning, everyone. It was a super night of racing last night. This is the jewel in the crown in many ways for Racing Queensland. Their big futurity scheme, the Q-Bred. They've talked it up. It's a big deal now. And it was on full display last night. 10 races, so all Q-Bred horses spread across the program, 4 Group 1, 4 Group 2. So it's a night that's getting bigger and better each and every year.
That it is. So amazing to have 4 Group 1s. We're sort of starting at the back a little bit there with Ride the Highs, but really caught the eye with that win in that 2-year-old fillies final.
Well, she looks a really exceptional talent. There's no doubt about that. Her record at this point in time reads very impressively. She was only a $20,000 purchase at the sales last year, so it was a nice piece of judgment by Mark and Lisa Pitt. That was Lisa's first Group 1 victory last night as a trainer. Mark, as we know, through his association with Emma Stewart and Clayton Tonkin, he's got over 30 Group 1s. But it was a really special moment for the husband and wife team there last night. She was brilliant taking out the heat, and probably even better last night. It'll be interesting to see how she measures up towards the back end of the year. She'll return to Victoria now. There's a lot of good races still to come. It'll just be interesting to see where she sits in the pecking order come the end of the year. So she looks very special. She's fast. She's got great manners, and she's got great speed. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the next couple of months plays out for Ride the Highs.
Chris, Brad, mate, great to talk to you. Tell us about race 5, the 3-year-old fillies, the beautifully named Arrive, and Arrive it did. What a tough win.
Yeah, this was probably the performance of the night, I reckon, last night. She was unbelievably good. This was a deep series because the favourite for this race last night was Cool and Classy, already a winner of the Group 1 New South Wales Oaks at Menangle earlier in the year. And they're building a really strong rivalry, these two pair of fillies, Cool and Classy and Arrive. Arrive had to do it the hard way last night. She got involved. It was a solid lead time, 36.7, and then she was left with no cover for the remainder of the event. Cool and Classy, meanwhile, sat midfield in the moving line, and the pace was certainly going to suit her. But it was Arrive that was able to dig deep, and she was able to score. She beat Cool and Classy earlier in the year in the Breeders' Classic, so she was able to turn the table. And it was a turn the tables in many ways because Cool and Classy beat Arrive in the 2-year-old edition last year. I'll be fascinated to see which way they go. I think they've got to have a look at the Group 1 Victoria Oaks at Melton in the coming months with Arrive. I think she deserves it, in particular after that performance last night. She's got high speed. She can certainly stay. She proved that last night, and she's very versatile. So I think the Group 1 Victoria Oaks is a race that they will focus on, and I'll be fascinated to see how she lines up because that will be a deep series, given that Emma Stewart, Clayton Tonkin have so many good fillies down there in their own backyard.
I've got to share this with you, Chris, because Brad Hardie, he's known to throw out a tip or two, mainly the gallops. I got one last night. He said, you better back this Arrive in race 5 at Albion Park, Brad. Now, where have you got your little inside here from?
Oh, well, Chris just covered it off beautifully. It was fantastic. And, I agree with Chris' assessment on that particular race. It was the run of the night by far.
So you're doing trot form now. That's what you're saying. You're doing your trot form as well. You sleep?
Well, I was going to ask Chris because his greatest fan up there at Albion Park, broadcasting the paces and the trotters, is Robert Crash Craddock. Was he on course last night? There was a game of cricket last night, Australia South Africa, so he might have been. Otherwise, was he there last night, Chris?
Well, I didn't see him last night, and I was going to say if he wasn't there, he probably would have been across the road at the Battle of Brisbane between the Broncos and the Dolphins.
Oh,
so
yes. Of course he would
I
have
reckon
been.
he would have been a little torn there. Do I go to the football or do I go to the racing? I tell you what, there's a good story with Arrive. Owner breeder of Arrive is John Paulson. He's based at Taree. He's a dairy farmer down there. So all he does is cows, but he races a number of horses. He breeds a number of horses, and he struck gold a few years ago when he purchased this mare, Washington Lass, from New Zealand. She wasn't overly expensive. On the racetrack, she was okay, but in the broodmare barn, she's been exceptional. And he had a night to remember last night, John Polson. Arrive is the younger half-sister to Attachment, who won the 4-year-old triad last night. He also shares in the ownership of Utterly Sweet, who was the runner-up in the Group 1 3-year-old Colson Gelding's final last night. And also, Washington Lass is the mother of a horse called Barsby. John loves the racing up here, obviously. Wanted to call a horse after me. And who let the team down last night? Barsby.
Oh,
He's
Chris.
finished 8th in a field of 10, so you can always rely on me to let someone down. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, let's go back to the Colts and Geldings now for the 2-year-olds. And Grant Dixon, gee, he's pretty good at this caper, isn't he? And fire and passion just bolted in as a short pricey.
He certainly did, and he's proven beyond doubt now he's the number 1 2-year-old in this state. That was his 10th start last night for the season, 8 wins. The 2 defeats came in the Breeders' Classic and the big Group 1 Proto Star during the recent Inter-Dominion Series, and there were excuses in both of those races. But he's such a big, strong colt, this guy, and once he got the lead last night from that good draw, it was game over. But the funny thing, well, not the funny thing, but the interesting thing about this performance last night, his 10th start, he's getting faster and he's getting stronger. PB time last night, 52.2. That's exceptionally fast. He's now going to go for a well-deserved break, and I'm sure they're going to be looking at all the major 3-year-old Derby Classics next year with him. But he has proven conclusively that he is the number 1 2-year-old in this part of the world.
Chris, I want to ask you a technical question. I mean, Marty and I, IT nerds, we've got no idea. Lucky to turn the mobile phone on.
Come on, Brad.
I love watching you broadcast. Doesn't matter if it's Albion Park, Redcliffe, whatever it may be. The shutter cam, when the horses go across the line, why can't we have that in all the codes? It's amazing. It's almost up instantaneously. When you call the races, I say, oh, Jesus, Chris, that's a bit close, that one. But you're spot on with it. And the replay, the photo, so to speak, or the way they go across the line's up instantaneously. What have you got different to everyone else?
Well, that's a question for our on-course broadcast team, PSP. So I don't know. I'm a bit like you guys. I'm an IT nerd as well, but they do a really good job. They had the drone footage there again last night.
Love the drone
that
footage.
Adds a different aspect to it as well. I like it. And the way they get that image up immediately after the race is fascinating, because there's nothing worse when you're at the pub or at the club and you see a race and you've had an investment and it's in a photo finish. You want to know for certain whether it's won or lost. And when that image comes up immediately after the race, it gives you some sort of clarification. So I don't know how they do it, but I like the way they do it, and they seem to keep coming up with these new little tricks each and every year.
And now, Brad,
brilliant.
I'll let you in on this one. Back in another life, when I was a GM of broadcast at Perth Racing, we wanted to get a shutter cam like that to mirror what was going. We're copying off Hong Kong, I think. And at the time, just say a normal camera was 90,000. The shutter cam was about 150. Something like that, along those lines. That's back then. I'd say technology's gone way past it, the way it's moving. But it was a lot more. But our brilliant director, Alan Hurley, found out a way of doing it and tricked one up, and it worked just as good. So it's not hard to do. But I agree with what you were saying, Brad. The broadcast that you get of Queensland pacing is as good as, well, it is the best in Australia. There is no doubt about that.
Yep, by far.
Yep. One more Group 1.
And Chris just adds to that.
Yeah, definitely. One more Group 1 to cover off on, of course. That was the win of French fries in the 3-year-old.
Yeah, he was really good last night, guys. He was the beaten favourite, and he was a deep odds-on favourite in the Breeders' Classic back in May. So he was out for some sort of redemption with this performance last night. He was awesome taking out his heat 7 days ago. But to deliver that performance last night, from what looked like being a really awkward draw on paper, he was dominant there last night. He's always had that touch of class about him. He's a very fast 3-year-old, and he was terrific last night. He made the mid-race move after a solid early start to the race, and once he was up outside the race favourite Cinnabon, he was able to put him away at the top of the straight, and he was able to clear out for a convincing victory. He's right in the mix. I think our 3-year-old Colton Geldings here in Queensland are very good. I don't think there's a real standout, but he's certainly in the conversation as being number 1 French prize, and I think he made a really good case for himself last night. I'll be interested to see which way they go with him. I don't think we'll see him travel interstate anytime soon. Maybe we'll see him back at the end of the year with a couple of features coming up around Christmas time. But he'll be an interesting horse going forward. He's got really good ability. Next year as a 4-year-old with a little bit more time and maturity, he could be even better. So maybe they look at a race like the Eureka next year. But he was strong last night.
So pacing in Queensland, what's the program looking like now going forward?
Well, it's probably quiet over the next month or so. We've come off the Inter-Dominion Carnival. We've had our big Q-Bred race night last night. So probably the next month or two might just be a little low-key. But then we're going to build up to our Summer Carnival. And this is a real new look about our Summer Carnival, given that we took on the Inter-Dominion during our Constellations, our Winter Carnival. So we've got a lot of good racing coming up towards the back end of the year in November and December. Races like the Blacks of Fate, Grand Circuit Quality, Sunshine Sprint, the Great Square for the Trotters. All of those features got taken from the winter, moved to the summer. So it's a much beefed up carnival now. And I think there's going to be really strong interest. I'm expecting Leap to Fame to be targeted towards races like the Blacks of Fate and Sunshine Sprint. He's got a lot on his plate. They're outlining the Victoria Cup, New Zealand Cup, and then they'll come back and focus on these features. But given that they're in his own backyard, I'll be stunned if he doesn't go that way. So I think the Summer Carnival is going to be very interesting. And before long, guys, the Ultimate Driver Series is going to roll around again for the second year because that's going to be in February. And time flies, so we're looking forward to seeing what drivers are going to be competing this year.
Hey, Chris, always great to catch up.
Brilliant.
Thanks for jumping on tonight.
Chris.
Anytime, guys, anytime. Enjoy the weekend.
There he goes, Chris Barsby. Yeah, it was a big day. I was only having a shot there, Brad, at you. I've just been, taught that what the difference is between X and Twitter. A name. Now, a text here from
I've got
you.
no idea what's up.
For you, Bradley. Georgie.
Yes.
Georgie's texting. Good morning, Georgie. How good was Willie Pike yesterday? 4 in a row for Pikey. 4-timer.
Oh, yes, he was outstanding. And he's right in the zone, Willie, at the moment. And the punters, that's why the punters love him. You can't go broke back and win it.
Oh, no, William, he is the wizard. One here from Dan. Why don't AFLW switch to an AFLX type game similar to the Super Sevens in rugby?
Yeah, that was my suggestion 10 years ago. Now, it is, to be fair, it has come along a little bit, but the reason it's come along a little bit, and we identified this 10 years ago, or 10 seasons ago. It's not actually 10 years ago, it's 10 seasons ago. What I said, Marty, was that the AFLX was an absolute complete flop for the boys. Would have been ideal. Look at the rectangular pitches, 7 aside, out there, ball moves, less tackling, less rolling mauls, etc. Skill levels up and scoring, and would have been an entertainment package. And it's had to bludgeon its way through for quite some time. And it's heading in the right direction. But what we have now, at least going on to the arena, is that young girls who've been doing Auskick and coming through the underage competitions, and we had a distinct cross reference of athletes and basketballers and hurdlers and high jumpers and all sorts of things, but they weren't familiar with the game, and it's not easy. This ball of ours, it is unbelievable. So. It appears to be getting better, and I think that's the growth of the time of these kids coming from, 6, 7 or 8 years of age and graduating to be 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds.
One here from Boulder Barney. I love Boulder Barney because he puts them in caps, capitals. Morning, lads. Watching one of the games yesterday. 2 players without force shoulder bumped each other in general play, and the commentator said, "Oh, lucky he didn't get him high." Made me feel sick in the gut when I heard that. What are they trying to promote in the AFL? Should have watched the Storm Panthers game on Thursday. What a remarkable game. And I agree with there, Boulder Barney. It was a remarkable game.
Well, AFL has been, or VFL, Waffle, Sandford, it doesn't matter. VFA, there's been some fantastic competitions over the 150-odd years the game's been going. Is a contact sport.
Yep.
Don't forget that. And sometimes there are collisions and incidents that are football related. That's for sure. Well done, Barney.
So I had a good conversation about this and about signing like a mitigation form against injury like they do in the NFL now, because it got to a point where
a waiver.
they didn't want to water down their game to a point where it stopped the fabric of the game how it was. And I think that's where it's going to have to go with the AFL, because they can't continue to water down the AFL to protect against injuries that are going to happen anyway. Otherwise, it becomes a non-contact sport. It'll be like a game of soccer, last touch, out of bounds. No, stop it.
Well,
go down that path of the NFL.
There was a person who shall remain nameless, has just been moved sideways in AFL City Hall, lectured the 18 clubs at a meeting one day, saying that they wanted to remove every potential injury in AFL. We don't have a game, if that's the case.
Yeah.
You don't have a game. Because that is just impossible. Impossible.
Yeah, exactly right. But injuries happen in all games. Happens in cricket, happens in tennis. 16 away from 8. We've got to get cracking here. 11 degrees here in Perth.
Racing, West on Sydney, given plenty of galloping room early on was Wise Barra, came off the inside, but Iconic Jet slingshot from the outside and went clear. Out by 3 in second place was Wise Barra, then followed by Aston Nero. Up around the outside was Timmy Tesla. West on Sydney's well back, along with it Transcendent Italian Stallion. Last of all, Junkyard Clyde off the back though. Iconic Jet out by 4 lengths. In second place was Wise Barra. Well back was Timmy Tesla round the corner, and the Shayne train. Toot toot, you're off to the Queensland. Iconic Jet by 2. Wise Barra second, 10 lengths away third. West on
great
Sydney.
Call, the package there. What a win it was. Iconic Jet. Shayne Train Williams joins us. He's one of ours, and he had a big crowding moment there at Thursday night at Cannington. Good on you, Shayne.
Yeah, good morning, boys. How are we?
You must be wrapped.
Yeah, no, I was really over the moon, Marty. I didn't really expect it because of the draw, but we come up with a little plan and it come off. So it was really, it was a really proud moment.
Yeah, well done, Shayne. Yeah, you wanted to jump left a little bit.
Yeah, he hasn't taken his best form to Kennington, but I think a lot of that's got to do with the wet tracks, Brad. I don't think he's felt comfortable sort of running on the wet, heavy, rainy tracks, and I actually caught in there during the day on Thursday, and I was very pleased to see that the track was in good shape. So that gave me a little bit of confidence, and it's always hard off the 8 box there. It's you really got to come out like that, or you're caught in no man's land. So it was good to see him come out like that.
So how do you discuss the plan with the dog? How does that work?
No, well, I was driving home Saturday night after the heats, and I threw the toys out of the cot because he drew 8 again. And I just said to myself, well, we're going to have to try and come up with a plan. So I racked my brain, and I just went back to a period of time in his career when I sent him over to the Meadows, and he trialled 29.56, which is like red hot. He'd never seen the track, and on that preparation that he had 5 days. We call it on the lead. 5 days on the lead where he hadn't had a gallop.
Okay.
I galloped him here at home on the Monday. He flew out Tuesday, and then he was supposed to have some gallops there Wednesday and Thursday in Melbourne, but the tracks are where he was staying, their straight track was underwater, so he couldn't gallop. And I was a little bit surprised that he went that good off that 5 day fresh, because he does like to have a bit of work.
Mm-hmm.
So Saturday to Thursday, I was 5 days, and so I just basically, I didn't gallop him at all at home, and I just took him for a walk, and he's seen some kangaroos through the bush and just mixed it up a bit, and it's paid off. It's all credit to the dog, to be honest, Marty. He's always been fast from day one, and he's just a good dog. So he makes me look good.
Yeah, the danger looked to be on paper, and the market said West on Sydney from the 1. So your optimism must have grown pretty sharply when the lids came open, because West on Sydney didn't muster as quickly as it would have liked.
Yeah, West on Sydney's got a big motor, and he had the good draw. And I said to the boys on the Sports Daily, I've seen that dog really as a slow beginner. I've really seen him come out when he draws the 1, and unfortunately for him, he didn't actually come out that great. And then he just got tangled up in the field out the back. And, so, if he had jumped well, he probably might have been camped on me and run us down, but wasn't to be for him. But, look, moving forward to Queensland, my dog's been there. He went over there for about 5 weeks earlier, 3 months ago, and although it didn't go to plan, I can keep him at home now and work him at home, and we can just go a couple of days before the final.
Okay.
Because it's a requirement that if you haven't been there, you have to go trial there. So I know Paulie Stewart's got to send his dog there to trial and stuff like that. So that's one little benefit up our sleeve. We can just get over there a couple of days before, and he flies really well. He's got more frequent fly points than me, the dog. So he flies really well. So it won't be a problem for him. And he'll settle in well, and we're relying on a good box draw. It's a very hot final. There's some good dogs in the race, so we're going to need to draw inside. And I think he's nearly due. I think he's had 6, 8, 8 his last 3, so hopefully he can get back to the inside.
So when is that box draw, Shayne?
I think it's Tuesday, Marty, and I think the box draw is Tuesday, and the final's not on until the 30th of August, so still 2 weeks. That's going to allow every dog to get up there and trial this week at some stage. So, yeah, we're going to just put him around Cannington on Saturday night just as a solo trial, just to top him off for the following Saturday in Queensland. And then, just keep him at home, work him at home until then, and then probably fly out Wednesday night or Thursday morning of next week. So, really looking forward to it. WA's had a great record in the sprint. I think someone said we've won 3 or 4 out of the last 5. So not a lot of pressure, but I'm sure he'll do the state proud.
Who's in the touring party?
Well, there's quite a few. My mate Paul Stewart's got the dog in the distance final, so that'll be good. And can have a beer with him. And there's a function on the Friday night. I'm spewing it's on the Friday night because I might have a sore head on the Saturday morning. But there's also the owners will be going, and I've got a few mates coming from Sydney, so yeah, it's going to be good.
Shayne, can I ask you a tricky one? You're so well liked and respected in the industry. How are you feeling about the legislation in New Zealand and Tasmania to, basically run greyhounds out of town?
Yeah, gut-wrenching, Brad. It really is. I know everybody in the industry is feeling it, and it's just how a government can use greyhound racing, as a pawn, basically, is beyond me. But hopefully it can get overturned like the New South Wales ban does, because we know, the domino effect it could have on not just greyhound racing, but all the racing codes, So, hopefully that can get overturned. It makes me sick, to be honest. The honest answer.
Well, let's look forward to Brisbane. So 30th, you've got time to come to Kalgoorlie with us next weekend and really get you nice and fit for Brisbane.
Jeez, I don't know if I'd make it. I don't know if I'd make it home. Yeah, with you.
Shayne Train, you're a star, mate. Well done, and keep up the good work during the week. You put a lot of our listeners in the money with your tips.
Yeah, thanks for the chat, boys, and we'll have to catch up soon, Mart. And thanks, Brad. All the best.
September 5 at the Mundaring, mate. You're one of the special guests. 6 away from 8 o'clock. Well, we're heading up to Carnarvon. The man in the Hawaiian shirt is joining us, Graeme Hammarquist.
What a hand.
Oh, the hammer. A very good morning, Graeme.
Good morning. Morning, boys. The Hawaiian shirt. I suppose it's better than any title.
Yeah, you better produce a good one today. There's going to be a big meeting there today. Sunday meeting?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very big. I think the club's expecting quite a few people to come along. It's beautiful weather, absolutely glorious.
29. Magnificent.
Yeah.
I think
couldn't get it any better.
The Yank's still up in Broome, isn't he? He's missing in action.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, he's still up there. Yeah, well, I think we can get back in one night anyway.
What about the Junction Cup Prelude over the 1,700 metres? We'll start with the main race of the day, and Jiddo for Tash Faithful. 2 runs in now, must be just about ready to win.
I would hope so. I was very lucky that Tash wanted to jump back on board all the horses that basically she rode last fortnight. She was more than happy to come back and jump on them again. So I think she's got a fairly good feeling about them all as well. Extra
distance will suit?
Yes, definitely. He won his maiden, I think it was, in Bunbury over 2,000. He's more comfortable once he gets past that 1,800 metre mark.
Well, Graeme, don't worry about that. We're going to get a bank first, and we might be able to do that in race 1.
We are. He's been going. The old boy's been going extremely well. Most of you know Kim Dupre is a little bit beyond handling the horses now. He's not beyond anything else, but he's beyond handling the horses. little bit unsteady these days on his feet, but yeah, he's a good old horse. He gives you everything he's got every time, and he's actually been thriving this year in Carnarvon. He's going super. I really can't fault him.
So that's Traded Crown in race number 2. It's the favourite at 2.25. Now, in race number 2, Graeme, you're three-handed here. The man himself, Long Wait, and Gigi's Cappuccino.
Yeah, well, Long Wait. When the phone call just came through, I was actually on scratching Long Wait. She carved herself overnight in the yard, and I thought she'd be right, but I just took her out for a walk, and she's ginger, and I'm a little bit. No, if there's any sign of anything, they stay in the yard. So she definitely won't be going around, but the other two will. The man himself, he actually put in a shocker last week. We don't know quite what it was, but the meeting before, I think it was about 3/4 of the length between first and fifth, and he was fifth, but there was just nothing in it. But I'm hoping today that I've got young Jefferson on. He's going to put his best foot forward.
Race 3, you got two really handy chances. Gold Spy, the track specialist, and the one named after Marty, Einstein.
Two Einsteins for one race.
I knew there was one coming. What about Gold Spy?
Einstein, he's been going very well this year too. It was only the last run he got a bit tangled up in running that he didn't do too good, but yeah, this Gold Spy has been a bit of a good find. 2 from 2, and I know Tash was more than rapt to come back and jump on him. She did not hesitate.
That's a good sign. Cheeky Charlotte, Tash is involved again here in race number 4, and you've also got cash flow running around for Jefferson Sang again.
Yeah, it's Merrill Harley sent it up to give it a few runs up here, and he's I wouldn't say improved. That's not the right word. I don't mean it the way it sounds, but he's improved in himself since he's been here. He's very relaxed and everything. Is a little bit, I wouldn't say high tension, but it was certainly high. But he's sort of come back to the casual Carnarvon time, and he's nice and relaxed. So I don't know quite what he'll do today. I'm hoping that he's going to put his best foot forward for Merrill and Jamie, but we'll wait and see. And just really, hopefully, can't fault either of them. And little Cheeky, well, you can see her results. She puts in 100% every time she goes out there.
You touched on the main race, and in the last, the simple logic would be to be in the bar with a ticket in your hand.
Well, the only trouble there, boys, I don't drink, so I'll have to give it the ticket to somebody else that wants to enjoy one. But I'll come and have a can of Coke while
Marty
they do that.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. We'll give it to Einstein, eh?
Yeah.
I've still got 4 tickets left from Port Hedland. I've been trying to use them around this. No one will cash them in.
They work.
What's our best, Graeme? How do we get $1?
Well, the thing is, you're not going to get $1 with the best. That's the problem. I think somebody said he's $1.55 or something. So I'd say Cheeky's definitely in there with a good chance today, and so's Traded Crown. So
okay,
I'm not. I hope everybody wins the race, but those 3 horses are going exceptionally well. So
beautifully done, Graeme. It's going to be a big meeting there today. Thanks for coming on.
Good luck.
No worries. Good on you, boys. Have a good day.
Graeme Hammarquist in Carnarvon. We have got time for your Sunday Saviour, Brad. Let's go.
Yes, Sale Race 4, number 3, Wyong Race 4, number 1, and Sale Race 8, number 9. Roll them in together, Marty. $10.33, my friend.
You lost me at Sale, mate. Wyong is what?
4-3 for Sale.
Yes.
4-1 for Wyong.
Yes.
8-9 for Sale.
8-9 Sale again. We'll put some names to them as well. Richie Bell is just starting to pull his hair out what he's got left. He said, you can't do that. Hey, thanks for coming on, Brad. You're a star for Loans 1, 2, 3 and Retrovision.
See you, Stoke.